On a peaceful morning, Max the dog and Daisy the cat, despite their differences, accompanied the Johnson family on a walk through the forest. But when Max suddenly went missing, Daisy, with courage and intelligence, decided to do the unexpected, save her best friend. Let's discover this story. The Johnson family lived in a small, peaceful house beside a vast forest, where the lush trees and fresh air made everyone feel relaxed and close to nature. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the leaves, Max, the family's strong golden retriever, would walk with the family members around the forest. With his shiny golden fur and warm and affectionate eyes, Max was always the most loyal protector of the family. No one could doubt his loyalty and strength. Max always protected the Johnson family, no matter how many challenges he faced. As for Daisy, the small Munchkin cat who had been adopted not long ago, her presence was a surprise. Although she had just joined the family, Daisy quickly won everyone's affection, with her bright eyes and mischievous, playful personality. With her petite body and short legs, she didn't show any fear when being around Max, the big dog who always considered himself the family's only protector. However, for Max, Daisy's presence was something unusual. Although Max loved the Johnson family, he couldn't understand why the little cat kept trying to approach him. Every time Daisy ran over, Max would turn away, his gaze cold, and he rarely showed any interest in making friends. Daisy was not a cat to give up easily. Even though Max ignored her many times, the little cat persisted. Every day, Daisy would find ways to get closer to Max, play, and try to integrate into his life. But their friendship couldn't form overnight. Max didn't understand Daisy's enthusiasm, and Daisy didn't yet fully recognize Max's protection and unconditional love for the family. Their relationship, though not loud, was not easy either. A little distance and a slight hesitation became questions in Daisy's heart. One day, as the autumn sunlight began to fade and the first cool breeze of the season blew through the forest, the Johnson family decided to go for a walk in the woods together. It was a clear morning with blue skies and fluffy white clouds drifting lazily. Max, with his curious nature, ran playfully through the falling yellow leaves, while Daisy, though not as agile as Max, followed closely behind her eyes, never leaving her big dog friend. The group walked joyfully, chatting along the way. But then unexpectedly Max, the strongest protector dog, ran deeper into the forest, far out of the family's sight. The family called for Max several times, but the dog didn't return. Daisy saw that Max had run too far ahead, and an indescribable worry surged in her heart. She wanted to chase after Max, but she feared getting lost. However, when she saw the family frantically searching for Max, something inside Daisy urged her to take action. Only Daisy, with her sharp instincts, could sense that something was wrong. It wasn't because the cat knew what would happen, but because she felt something deep within her, a strong urge to save Max and her friend in danger. The family didn't know that Max had run deep into a dense part of the forest, where the path out wouldn't be easy to find. The small stream in the forest suddenly became dangerous after last night's rain, and Max might have gotten stuck somewhere, unable to free himself. At that moment, Daisy, the little cat, despite knowing she couldn't do much in this dangerous forest, felt a strong emotion and courage that overpowered her fear. Daisy didn't hesitate. She quickly followed Max's trail, a chill running down her spine, but filled with determination. This journey was not just for a small cat, but for a heart full of courage, love, and sacrifice. Daisy didn't know what she would face in this forest, but one thing was sure: she wouldn't turn back without finding Max. What started as a casual walk in the forest turned into an unpredictable journey when the Johnson family realized Max had run too far and couldn't be called back. Tension began to settle in their hearts. However, amidst all the anxious emotions, no one realized that the change wouldn't come from a family member, but from a small cat often considered the outsider in this story. Daisy the small Munchkin cat wasn't a strong cat, or one who easily drew attention. With her short legs and petite body, Daisy always made the family feel she was a minor part of the Johnson household. But if anyone knew Daisy's strength, it was Max, the largest protector dog in the house, even though he seemed indifferent to the cat. Max knew exactly what Daisy could do. As a strong protector, Max had always been proud of his ability to guard the family, but because of this pride, he didn't recognize the hidden strength within Daisy. Though she always remained small and nestled in the darker corners, keeping her distance during play, Daisy possessed a sharp mind that few noticed. She wasn't just a cat who liked peace and a sensitive creature. Still, Max never paid attention to these qualities. But when Max went missing in the forest, something strange happened. Daisy was no longer the small cat everyone thought she was. The anxiety and determination to save her best friend pushed Daisy beyond the limits of being just a cat. When Daisy saw the Johnson family frantically calling Max's name, a powerful feeling surged within her. "I have to do something," she thought, even though she couldn't say it aloud. In Daisy's eyes, Max wasn't just a big dog who took charge and protected everyone, but also the first friend she had found in this family. This little cat had never been noticed much, but Max was the first to approach her without fear, growling, or prejudice. Max had always been there during the moments when she needed a friend. And now when that dog was in danger, Daisy couldn't just stand still and watch. She looked toward the dense forest where Max might be trapped. The storm was approaching, and the sky was beginning to darken. Everything seemed to be falling apart, but Daisy didn't hesitate. She jumped from the porch, her short legs quickly moving down the trail, heading straight into the forest. A strange, powerful feeling enveloped Daisy, making her feel no fear, even as she faced a vast forest with lurking dangers. Daisy wasn't a warrior. She couldn't fight wild animals or swim across rushing rivers, but she had a different ability, one that no one except Max could recognize: intelligence and agility. As Daisy ventured deeper into the forest, she felt the dampness from the rain and a strange tension, as if someone was watching her. There was no sound, only the rustling of leaves and the heavy fall of rain. The anxiety in Daisy grew stronger with each step, but she continued to push forward. Suddenly, an unexpected sight appeared before her. A wild wolf prowled near the area Daisy guessed Max might be trapped. The wolf looked at Daisy with hungry eyes, and slowly it started moving toward her. A flash of fear went through Daisy's heart. But immediately she thought of Max. If she didn't act now, they would be in danger. Daisy didn't have much time. With a few quick leaps, the small cat darted past the wolf, narrowly avoiding its sharp jaws, using her agility to escape danger. As she ran, she didn't forget to mark the trail where Max might have passed, so that when she found him, she could lead the way more accurately. Daisy panted, but didn't stop. She followed the trail Max had left behind, until finally, after some searching, she found Max exhausted and sitting beneath a large tree. Max no longer had the strength to continue, his tired eyes looking at Daisy, and in that moment, Daisy realized that Max needed help. At that moment, the whole forest seemed to awaken. A call echoed from afar. The Johnson family was also searching for Max. Once familiar to Daisy, the forest had become completely alien and dangerous during her walks with Max and the family. Everything turned into a hazy space filled with obstacles. The rain kept falling, blending with the murmur of the wind, making the atmosphere even more somber and silent. Under the damp earth, each step Daisy took could make strange noises, attracting the attention of any wild creature nearby. But Daisy didn't care. The little cat no longer felt the fear she once had when she was just a weak cat in a warm family. She was no longer the cat that hesitated and avoided, but a brave creature determined to save her best friend. She knew that it wouldn't have a chance to survive. If she didn't act now, the race Daisy discovered led her deeper into the forest, where the light was only a faint glow filtering through the dense canopy. This place was a forest and a maze where any wrong step could lead to an unforeseen disaster. And Daisy knew time was running out. Suddenly a noise rang out ahead, a sharp rustling sound from the bushes, as if something significant was moving a wild animal. Panic immediately surged within Daisy. She stopped, her ears perked, listening intently. Her heart pounded in her chest, and her tiny steps seemed insufficient to face something that could pose a threat. The noise came again, closer this time. Daisy knew it wasn't Max because the big dog always remained silent when danger approached. No, this was another creature, and the little cat could not afford to be careless. She crept through the bushes trying to locate the source of the sound. And then, in a fleeting yet tense moment, Daisy saw a shadow move in the underbrush. A wild wolf. The wolf's eyes gleamed with a cold blue light in the darkness, making Daisy feel an invisible fear flooding her. With its thick fur and diamond-bright eyes, the wolf stared at Daisy. It was an adult wolf full of strength and not willing to let Daisy pass easily. It stepped closer, each heavy step deliberate. Daisy couldn't afford to take any chances. She knew she wasn't as fast as Max and had no strength to fight a wolf, but something strange. A powerful instinct from within drove Daisy not to retreat. She took a deep breath, applying every skill she had learned as a small cat, and immediately used her agility and intelligence to avoid the danger. The little cat leapt onto a nearby rock, using her speed and cunning to jump over the wolf, creating just enough distance to escape its pursuit. The wolf, confused and angry from being disturbed, barked loudly and turned away, no longer chasing Daisy. A moment of relief, but Daisy didn't dare stop for long. She looked at the faint traces on the ground Max had left behind. It seemed like Max's trail was becoming fainter, as though the dog had moved farther and time was running out. Another unsettling feeling rose within Daisy. As Daisy continued forward, she suddenly noticed something strange. Max's trail was no longer clear. Instead, there was another completely different trail, one belonging to another creature. Under the moonlight, Daisy realized these tracks didn't belong to Max, but to another wild animal, perhaps a predator. A new fear surged in Daisy's heart, and she immediately understood that Max wasn't moving alone. Without hesitation, the little cat changed her course carefully, following this new trail. A sense of tension and anticipation enveloped Daisy, as she knew that if she didn't figure things out quickly, it could be too late to save Max. She saw an unexpected sight approaching a large pile of rocks where the trail led. When Daisy saw Max, or more precisely, Max the golden retriever lying motionless under a large rock, her heart seemed to stop beating for a few seconds. The scene before she made Daisy halt, swallowing nervously. Max lay slumped under the rock, his tired eyes filled with panic. The large dog's body no longer had its usual strength, only weak breaths escaping into the cold air. But it wasn't just Max in peril. Around him, the darkness seemed to deepen as a wild leopard crouched behind the rock, watching closely. The massive leopard's eyes gleamed like precious gems, waiting for the moment to pounce. Its sharp jaws and powerful claws made Daisy feel a surge of fear. This scene was almost unimaginable. Daisy, with her petite frame, was facing the wild leopard that was about to attack, while Max, her close friend, lay motionless, unable to defend himself. The dog might have lost all his strength, and time ran out. Daisy had to act, but how could she face such a powerful creature? Daisy sat up straight. her small eyes narrowing as she observed more carefully. She knew she couldn't fight the leopard with strength, and she couldn't wait for help from the family. Everything depended on her intelligence and the courage of this little cat. As the leopard slowly approached Max, Daisy suddenly noticed a pile of dry leaves nearby. An idea struck her. She quickly dashed over, picked up a small branch, and rubbed it on the ground, creating a strange sound. The leopard heard the noise and immediately turned its cold, piercing gaze toward Daisy. But instead of fearing, Daisy gave a small smile. She didn't have Max's strength, but she had the agility of a cat. The little cat swiftly ran in the opposite direction, creating some distance for the leopard to chase. However, the leopard didn't expect Daisy to pretend to flee, and then suddenly leap onto a large rock above. The leopard couldn't understand the move, but it rushed forward with incredible speed, without hesitation. Daisy knew there was only one chance. She quickly reversed her direction, jumped, and used all her strength to push a small rock toward the leopard. The rock rolled down at high speed, striking the leopard on the head, stunning it. The leopard fell, and at that moment Daisy quickly ran to Max's side. However, when Daisy tried to wake Max, something unexpected happened. The leopard, though injured, didn't give up. It turned back with renewed fury, but an intense light from a fierce shone through just at that moment. It was the Johnson family. Daisy and Max didn't have much time. The leopard had gotten up, its eyes once again flashing with danger, but Daisy, with a determined look, stood firm. The little cat had led Max toward the family, and just then the leopard charged at them with an unstoppable attack. Daisy was left alone to face the leopard standing before Max, refusing to let the wild creature attack again. The leopard, realizing the determination in Daisy's eyes, no longer hesitated. Its powerful body and sharp claws were ready to pounce on the small cat with unstoppable speed. Daisy knew this was her only chance to save herself and Max, but she couldn't give up. She had not left Max alone in the wilderness, and would not fail in the face of danger. Though just a small cat, Daisy had done things no one could have expected. She stood tall, unafraid, staring directly at the leopard, preparing to charge. This is the moment, she told herself. Everything had reached a point of no return. She didn't have much time to think. She could only act. Daisy jumped to a nearby branch with a sudden leap, creating a noise loud enough to deceive the leopard. The leopard, confused, turned around again, and Daisy used that moment to rush back toward Max swiftly. But just as she was about to breathe a sigh of relief, something unexpected happened. From afar, a series of lights from the Johnson family illuminated the area, along with the mother's voice calling out, "Max, Daisy." Through the thick fog, the family had found them. Daisy felt an indescribable relief. The Johnson family had arrived just in time. The leopard, not a foolish creature, decided to retreat upon seeing the bright lights and hearing the movement of people approaching. With a look of unwillingness, it disappeared into the forest's darkness. The Johnson family approached, and a sense of relief flooded them as they saw Max and Daisy standing together unharmed. They rushed over and embraced both of them. "Thank you," Mrs. Mary said tearfully, her eyes red from worry. "You two saved our family." Standing together, Max and Daisy looked at the family as if nothing could separate them. The dog and the cat, two different animals, had become unconditional friends with a strong bond that couldn't be described in words. Under the light of the flashlights, as the night still covered the forest, the Johnson family finally found Max and Daisy. An overwhelming sense of relief filled their hearts as they saw the two close friends unharmed, standing strong amidst the danger. Mrs. Mary hurried over, her eyes red, filled with gratitude. She knelt, embracing Max, then turned to Daisy, her hands trembling as she gently stroked the soft fur of the little cat. "Thank you," she said, her voice cracking with happiness. You saved our family. Max, though tired, weakly wagged his tail as if saying, We did it. At that moment, Daisy stood quietly, her sparkling eyes looking at the family filled with joy and band pride. This little cat had become a hero. Max's irreplaceable friend and the Johnson family's trustworthy companion. As they all turned back, the first rays of dawn began to appear, dispelling the darkness of the night. The Johnson family walked home together. Max and Daisy leading the way like two inseparable companions. Every step they took carried a sense of peace and new hope. The journey through the forest had ended, but the story of the friendship between a dog and a cat would forever remain in the memories of this family. They had found their loyal friend again and realized that sometimes friendship is not built on similarities, but on sacrifice, care, and empathy during the most challenging times. Max and Daisy, two friends from different species, had proven that true friendship knows no boundaries. And in the hearts of the Johnson family, they were no longer just a dog and a cat. They were the most loyal friends, the siblings who could not be missing from this home. Thank you, Max and Daisy, for teaching us that nothing is impossible when friendship overcomes all challenges.